Little do most people know that Bleach actually has amazing world building, with a majority of its ideas focusing on the afterlife. Now, before we get into this, I want to say, go ahead and like the video and then subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit the bell notification so you can always know when a video is released. And if you want to find a means to support your favorite commentator, you can go ahead and check out our Patreon with a link in the description and a link as a pinned comment below. And from where we left off, the world building of Bleach is nothing short of amazing. There are very few mangas that focus on the ideas of life and death, only to allow that theme to become the main focus and ultimately help the series retain its identity. And the same can be said for Bleach's world building, because the world of Bleach is a reflection of its themes. When mentioning life and death, there's one question that everyone wants to know. What happens after we die? And Bleach answers this question by showing us life after death. Now, what makes the afterlife so significant? Well, you see, as human beings, we live. And when I say this, I mean we experience happiness, sadness, anger, greed, empathy, any form of emotion you could ever think of. And we experience hardship, or in other words, suffering. Days feel like they get harder, and the weight on your body just begins to feel like it's suffocating you, nearly to a point that you feel as if you need to pray for your days to get easier, only to ask yourself, at the very end, was what I did really worth it? Was the life I lived the life that I wanted? To live life from a beginning to an inevitable end. In that sense, life would be no different than a straight line, from point A to point B, from beginning to end, from life to death. Even so, life would maintain the shape of a circle. Life is like a wheel, with Ichigo's everyday life being no different than our own. Ichigo can go to school, pursue any career he wants, spend time with his friends and family. He can practically do anything, and you can already just name it. Ichigo's life would be no different to our own, because he is a human and he lives in the human realm. This is due to the fact that all of life itself exists in the Buddhist wheel of life. Bleach doesn't shy away from Buddhist references, with Ichigo's sword itself being a Buddhist reference. Also, the world of Bleach just so happens to also reference Buddhism. With that being said, the many afterlives of Bleach are depicted throughout the Buddhist wheel of life. While living in the human realm, Buddhists consider being born as a human to be the most fortunate state, because they are not suffering as heavily as the beings in other realms. Although humans do not live as long as gods, they do live in bliss and happiness, even though it may be considered to exist for a short time. Humans suffer from hunger, thirst, heat, cold, loneliness, which is a theme heavily involved in the story, not getting what they want and getting what they don't want. While the general suffering of humans would consist of birth, old age, sickness, and death. Yet humans have the best chance of reaching enlightenment, which is actually very true, and I think we can all recognize and understand which character did eventually achieve enlightenment. And then we have the Soul Society, which is a group of individuals that fight to maintain the nature of the universe and make it so that nothing will destroy any other realm. They essentially preserve the balance and ultimately allow things to exist. Well, certain things for the most part. You better pray you don't make a bow and arrow out of your hands. Yet the Soul Society would be a depiction of the realm of gods. The gods live in a state of bliss in the realm of heaven. Gods usually live for a long time, but even they will also die. Now these gods would sound a lot like Squad Zero in the Soul Society. The gods lead long and enjoyable lives full of pleasure and abundance, but they spend their lives pursuing meaningless distractions, and they never think to practice the Dharma. When you think about Squad Zero, you can see them as if they are pursuing meaningless distractions. Each and every member of Squad Zero in the Soul Society are depictions of gods. These are the same gods said to pursue meaningless distractions such as art, cooking, women, the sauna, and fashion. It's only natural for Squad Zero to be regarded as gods in the Soul Society because not only do they live in the upper echelons of the society itself, but they live their lives in pleasure, doing exactly what they want. And by living in this paradise, this would go to show that the gods in the Soul Society would be Squad Zero. But gods are not the only beings that exist in the Soul Society. Demigods have pleasure and abundance almost as much as the gods, but they spend their time fighting among themselves or making war on the gods. Making war on the gods and fighting amongst themselves. I wonder who that could be. When they make war on the gods, they always lose since the gods are much more powerful. The demigods suffer from constant fighting and jealousy, and from being killed and wounded in their wars with each other and with the gods. These demigods will be none other than the captains of the Soul Society, because they engage in these same fights amongst themselves, or they make wars against other gods, such as Aizen and ywhach, all so that they can preserve the balance. It is expected of every god and demigod to put their lives on the line for the Seirete. However, not everyone is so lucky. You could just end up being in the realm of hungry ghosts, lingering around the edges of the mortal realm, trapped by their over-attachment to the world. The hungry ghosts are in the grip of their unfulfilled desires. This is symbolized by their huge bellies and tiny mouths that can never satisfy their appetites. The realm of hungry ghosts would undoubtedly be hueco mundo. Hollows consume human souls to satisfy a hunger caused by the emptiness inside them. But certain hollows are more ravenous than others and begin to crave the souls of their own kind. You see, these hollows in hueco mundo would be depicted as the hungry ghosts. Those hollows are drawn by a mutual desire to consume each other. It consumes other Gillians and grows stronger, and eventually becomes an ajuka. And based on the designs of the hollows within this realm, one could be led to believe that this would be the realm of animals, but that is a completely different place entirely. Hueco mundo would be the realm of the hungry ghosts. This is due to the fact that the hungry ghosts dwell in the waste and desert places of the earth and vary in situation according to their past karma. And hueco mundo is just that, a desert, which is the same place that hungry ghosts are known for living. Hungry ghosts, or in this instance, a being like Grimjow, would wander constantly in search of food and drink, only to be miserably frustrated anytime they come close to actually getting what they want. For example, they would see a stream of pure, clear water in the distance, but by the time they get there, the stream has dried up. Because you would be in search of water if you were thirsty, and if you were in a desert, by the time you went to an area where you thought water appeared, it would then only just be a mirage. This only goes to support the idea of this realm being a desert, just like Hueco Mundo. And not only this, hollows exist due to any regrets or unfulfilled desires, just like the hungry ghosts. Now, when it comes to the realm of animals, animals are used by humans and lack the necessary awareness to become enlightened. Buddhists do not believe it is a good thing to be reborn as an animal, although they believe in treating every living thing with loving kindness. Undoubtedly, the animal realm would be the realm where Kamamura and his great elder had originally came from. When the great elder speaks, he says it won't change, and there is no need to either. It is none of your concern what happens to their world. When he says this, he is talking about the world of the animals and how no matter what would happen, that same world known as the animal realm would never change. And yes, the animal realm does actually exist. Animals operate on the instinctual level. They are not capable of rational thought or logic. Therefore, they are unable to reflect on their situation or practice the Dharma. Many wild animals suffer from being attacked and eaten by other animals, while many domestic animals suffer from being used as beasts of burden, from being slaughtered for food, and so on. And finally, we have the realm of hell. Hell beings endure unimaginable suffering for eons of time. There are actually 18 different types of hells, each inflicting a different kind of torment. In the hot hells, beings suffer from unbearable heat and continual torments of various kinds. In the cold hells, beings suffer from unbearable cold and other torments. And most beings enter this realm, such as Suzayo Poro, have evil karma such as theft, lying, adultery, and others. The texts vary in their details, but typically describe numerous hellish regions, each with different forms of intense suffering. And this is all due to the evil karma that all of these beings have accumulated through their lives. And after you go through enough suffering equal to the amount of evil karma you have, you can then be reborn in another realm. With Suzayo Poro being a prime example of all of the suffering that goes on throughout this realm. And with all of these realms, the world of Bleach is a depiction of the Buddhist wheel of life.